The amount of analysis and information and points to make could really go on for 10 straight hours. Let me just give you the basic facts. Now, I want you to pay attention to the warnings that I've given you the last 3 years, 4 years, especially with regards to Alex Jones as controlled opposition, government agent, perhaps multiple government agencies, how long I've been talking about certain things, and what's manifesting now, and how things in the script, in politics, and in law enforcement, even high profile FBI arrests. Take a look at Roger Stone. Take a look at him coming out acting like some sort of a mafia don, talking to the crowd, acting really confident, really knowing his lines in the script. And notice how even persecution of certain individuals, arrests, even kicking people off their platforms, can be something that is used as propaganda by anyone from the left or the right or any group that's persecuted and put up in the mainstream so they can say to their people on social media, look, we're victims, we're being persecuted, and then also be given mainstream attention. See, if they really want to bury a story, if they really want to cover something up, they don't have that story on every single network. The arrest goes through, everything goes real quiet, and then business continues as usual. They are amping up the masses for something. Now, at this moment, let me take a few minutes to talk about some of the revelations from Adam Green, no end at the end of his last name. I'm not a fan of all of his guests or all of his ideas, but that's not the point. The information was so well presented. I'd like to just show you the full video here, but you can find the clip for yourself. It's really Alex Jones in his own words. He also had someone on his YouTube channel by the name of Matthew North. And so they're paying attention to the modern day updated Freudian slips of Alex Jones, where he is basically telegraphing and or admitting, although it could be a deception, we'll talk about why, because it's for the lesser of two evils, as people suspect that he is part of um, a larger Russian intelligence network, and I'm a pioneer within the alternative media for suspecting Alex Jones as being not what he is, but being more than just CIA. And I said for years, people were really limiting the investigation into Alex Jones, or calling him a J, or saying it's just about him being a J, instead of taking it all the way. Take me all the way, dun, dun, dun. And it's like we look at the totality of what he is in the Freudian slips. As more people suspect him as being a pawn of Putin, as I said early on, we look at the RT Alex Jones connection. What's happening now is he's coming out and saying that early on he was groomed to be a part of something. While not directly a part of a Stand Behind network, the Stand Behind networks, which is something that is using as code for the intelligence networks or secret societies, they are in his family. And one way we can speculate with regards to keep saying his family, half his family at the family reunion, or in the alphabet agencies. What if when Alex Jones says his family, he's referring to the people that he works with as his family? So he says his family goes back to the Mayflower. What family does thou art speak of when we look at Alex Jones? Now, I really can go on for hours and hours and hours, and that almost like stops me from even hitting record on this. And this is my second recording with the cat interrupting the first recording, but I'm going to try to, without going on for hours, go over some of the most pressing thoughts within my mind. What disturbs me is seeing concerns of mine validated. I'd like to see them debunked. I'd like to see the things that I've been concerned about be more of the thing of psychosis than reality. You understand this, don't you? Those of you that are actually in my audience can actually be some of the only humans that can conceive of the psychological stress from seeing things that you predicted not go somewhere else, but start to manifest. Because then there's the other things that I warned you about, and the other things, and the other things as well, and how all of this is a part of a larger agenda to demonize Americans, in particular white Americans, and make them all come across, and many of them, as white supremacists. And YouTube itself, which makes me so wigged out to even speak on this medium, has been in bed in reality with the likes of InfoWars. Kelly Jones' former wife recently posted, thank God I remembered this, an Alex Jones Russian passport. This is his wife. This is a woman that he brought children into the world with. She has a certain level of credibility. For her own safety, her own bias, she's more aligned with the Democrats instead of maybe, and it is smart to not just get involved with every single conspiracy theorist that's on the internet for her own safety and perhaps the safety of those YouTubers. Because I don't really think that these YouTubers that are, even some of them have 50,000 views, look at Adam Green, but there's still so much more that they don't know or aren't speculating about with the type of danger that we're dealing with. Because let me articulate this to you why this is different for me than it is for you. I went down to physically meet Alex Jones in 2005. He was my hero. And this is something that is frightening because he's been really collecting information on his fans. And there's been a gatekeeping process with Alex Jones, with keeping certain people off his program and off of RT and other people that are in his network. You'll notice certain names keep emerging on his program over the years. This is like basic, like introductory information to the Alex Jones deception. Remember, just like a classroom where you walk in, there's 101, then there's 102, then maybe 201, maybe 202. There's advanced levels of study. There's advanced levels of study. So let me not hold your ear for hours and hours. Check out the Alex Jones Deception series, hosted by yours truly. Also, check out some of the other work that's out there. And even sometimes, if you're hearing it from a Republican or a Democrat, suspend absolute prejudice or disbelief. At least hear out what they're saying, even if you don't agree with that YouTuber entirely. You can find something later that'll cause you to go, oh my God, dude, unsubscribe. How can you have that person on your program and claim that you're calling out the establishment? That is suspicious. But whatever. To each his own, man. To each his own, man. But I'll sit there and, in Alex Jones, in his own words, all of that work that goes into those YouTubers saying he said this at this part of the time code, let me continue the revelations of what Adam passed on. Because what it's doing for me, for the first time in years, is I'm seeing hardcore evidence of my own concerns in Alex Jones's own mouth. He's admitting this. I don't have such a large following that I'm hearing back from people going, Alex, answer me. I came across your Alex Jones Deception series, and the stuff that Alex Jones is saying right now is basically, he's sending a message to his audience that he's a part of a shadow government network, but they're white hats, that they're going to do something for the government, for the people. And they're like, this is so creepy, Alex. This is just like this far-right uprising that you warned us about, that you said Alex Jones and maybe others would be spearheading for the government. But see, who could be overtly sending a message to those that are listening to deceive them and make them think that he's with the good guys. He is with the shadow government to a certain degree. They clearly have supported him, but he's not with the good guys. But he puts out a message that he's with the good guys, that there's a secret society, a secret, almost new world order, shadow government, like good cabal, that's going to go against the deep state. They inverted the whole thing. If you will, that which is the deep state is behind Alex Jones, but understand, this being taught to use the language of deep state, deep state. I've been into this since 2002. Nobody said deep state back in the day. There may have been some people that said deep state, but it was really military industrial complex, shadow government, Illuminati, New World Order. What else can I say to alert the AI bot? And perhaps they changed their language for a certain reason to be promoted. So those that say that type of language, and if they are aligned in a particular political ideology, I'm telling you, the computer's been programmed to play out this. And I was just watching, by the way, the first hour of War Games. And I believe that there's a reason why voodoo.com is maybe even showing you certain movies. Terminator, Rambo 3, War Games, The Witness, other movies where art imitates life and life imitates art. Please excuse the audio imperfection in Ironheart, the remix, the synthwave. But there were some things that I was showing you within those. And somebody can look at some of the things that I do, the music videos, and see the microscopic symbolism, not from a secret society, but just showing you how the movie could be used as a metaphor, as a symbol for the real world, for things that happen in the real world. Is there human trafficking that happens in the real world? Is there a way in which fiction, to a certain degree, can show us what the real world is like in a world where a lot of people are lost, and they almost need to be shown something in a fictional light to understand or conceive of a particular idea? Well, let me tell you this in this particular spy versus spy movie, because it gets deep. There ain't no movie that's depicted the types of things that are taking place now. Like I could say to someone, man, this is just like a movie like Born Identity, but it's not. In a way, it's so much far creepier. How, Alex? How can it be so much far creepier than a movie like Midnight Express or The Running Man or The Terminator? Well, easy. They created an event, and most of us are aware of this. And then we had a big movement rise out of the ashes of that event. And it was almost as if it was like a honeypot operation to see who the bright ones were, the real truthers, and to also run experiments, like embed false truths within conspiracy theory, even create conspiracy theory TV shows and put them on true TV and then send people in weird directions, popularize conspiracy theory under Barack Obama, and then demonize conspiracy theory using Alex Jones as a sigil. And then as people think and are shown, right, YouTube, they see YouTube as something that caters to white supremacists. They don't explain or report on how YouTube buries those of us that are trying to expose what they're doing. Now, this will be better suited for a book, but I'm giving you extreme cliff notes without even the subheaders. I believe I've come into contact with people that are not who they purport to be. What do you mean by that, Alex? How corrupt could they be? Well, I don't think people have really wargamed what's really going on here. They've been really defensive over their own belief systems. They see CNN, which can't really be trusted, tackle Russiagate, and they go, well, there can't be any Russian interference. The mainstream media is investigating it. It's the turn of the punch bowl. And I don't want to feel like my mind is on the urge of just trying to explain this to people. They don't have the intellectual capacity to fill their own cup with the knowledge of truth. But they can literally have the mainstream media report on elements of the truth of what's obvious in order to debunk it. Years ago, I made videos about reverse psychology, how they really built up Alex Jones and they really built up Donald Trump by attacking them and making sure they were always the top story, always the top story. So I've never seen a politician almost become, or a media figure, godlike in the eyes of the people, because by design it was attacked to a certain level to bring it to a certain level of avatar-like archetype. Archangel, really archdemon, but really archangel type in the mind's eye of the people. That's where they're at. Whereas Alex Jones would say himself, next level, they're next level. In the minds of their followers, they're next level. And they're not actually held back. Think about any like any rational politician that does all their business on Twitter. And just because CNN also focuses on that, the Twitter obsession, the very fact though that isn't a little bit shady isn't debunked as a topical. Twitter itself, as a product of the intelligence agencies, all these people running around doing commercials for Twitter. So-and-so tweeted this. So-and-so's on Twitter. And I would say this 5 years ago. Who cares what's on Twitter? Why do you keep saying this? Why do you keep saying Twitter? What, do you want us all on Twitter? Is there something about getting us all on Twitter? Yeah, there's something about getting us all on Twitter. That's right. And I don't think people really have wargamed this, despite the fact that there's a shitload of conspiracy theorists. Some don't know what the most basic of conspiracies are. I tried to make some points last week in a video about Tiny and Joey, and there's people at these protests. You guys are acting like you're in with InfoWars, right? That's validating what I thought these Portland Proud Boys were really doing and working for. They're receiving auxiliary support from InfoWars. InfoWars is a shady individual, is not operating on its own. But as an individual, we're focusing on this specifically, InfoWars, more than Fox News or other websites, because some of us were inspired early on by some of that content because we could see the elements of truth that were in it. And it's really important that people understand, from people like us, people like Adam and others, that he purported to be a different person fighting for different issues many years ago. And this is not being presented to the world, the Alex Jones that shifted on the people. And that should have all different types of people alarmed. They're involved in independent alternative media content creation, whether on the left, the right, the up, the down, the middle, the diagonal. I mean, let's get real. This is taking place. And that's why this is creepy. More real than a Born Identity movie. Because some of us, for years, have even sent emails and videos to some of these individuals and websites. I know that I stopped sending InfoWars my content after 2008, but I realized there was a major split early on. Some say it was 2013 when we went full neo dark side. And so there were stages of the Alex Jones drinking of the blood. The Roger Stone thing never came in until later, nor the extreme right wing ideology stuff, nor fan base came later. He literally shed his original elements of his original audience space and then took in a new while acting like he's bigger than he actually is on a certain level. Because there's going to be a certain amount of people that are going to be calling him out and exposing what he is. And a lot of people aren't going to come across that information. They're going to come across different theories, of course, if they look. Someone's going to actually have to do some digging within the videos exposing Alex Jones to get to the truth of what it is. But if they objectively watch the tape, him at the Austin gun show rally, they could see an agent provocateur in action. And I want to bring this home too, of course, and bring up other things that I haven't said already 100 times. This shows us that if he's now in this direction, by the way, it was mentioned recently in a recent article that is talking about, let me bring it up. Looks like I have it right here. Well, not at the moment, but there is a Muslim community in upstate New York. The FBI, because they're probably running the operation that was planning to attack them, but the FBI foiled an attack on a mosque. And this particular place in upstate New York was mentioned on Infowars.com. And I said to you years ago that there seemed to be a reason he was targeting various communities, saying that they were stockpiling weapons. And I said to you a few months ago, it was right after he got kicked off YouTube. They put up a map and said all these places are current terror camps in the state of, or in the United States. But then it showed Colorado and it showed a few others. And it seems like there is plans. And there's a reason why Colorado, Florida, we'll get to Florida in a minute, and Virginia, where they had Charlottesville, seem to be states where the right wing has their strongest focus. And there's a plan for the future. And things are going to get crazy after the 2020 election. Things are going to get crazy after the 2020 election. There's a reason why they don't go after Alex Jones or Gavin. And if they do, it's there to build them up and make them stronger, not weaker. There's a way that you actually go after people, and there's a way that you don't. Alex Jones in the supplement industry or his supplement products. This is more of something in which money can be received by InfoWars through various agencies or various individuals, and it could be doctored up or set up to appear like it's legitimate customer purchases. Traditional money laundering, or something that's almost learned from Donald Trump himself with the shell corporations. And that technique, the art of the deal, the art of the ripoff, the art of the misdirection, the art of the money laundering, the art of the double agent. And so there are people out there that are waking up to this that are not Democrats, that are not liberals. They're waking up to the basics because they're familiar with the old Alex Jones, and they're going, the actions of the current Alex Jones and the associations are absolutely suspect. Those that are in the mainstream media, CNBC, CNN, other agencies, Fox News, they're not making that argument. So people that are at the lower level of intelligence that are responding to Alex Jones' criticism at this level aren't even able to differentiate between old Alex Jones and new Alex Jones. They're not even in the argument. They're just maintaining loyalty. Without a doubt, also, Alex Jones uses mind control. He uses hand symbols. There was a lot of Masonic programming that was way more overt years ago. In Police State 4, the trailer, you can look it up for yourself. It says submit to fear. There is a subliminal. It says submit to fear. So he bombarded submit to fear, and then he shifted towards the Muslim invasion meme right around the same time, or within a few years. It was a few years from the transition to Police State 4 to actually not warning about the police state and really being a mascot for the police state. He is there also to divert from the real warnings about China. And he will use certain code words and will act like he is there to play that role of the archetype of the one that would defend with information in the info war, but he is an intelligence agency asset of that which likely controls the world nation state. So there's a connection between Israel, which you can't talk about, and China. And I have even steered away from wanting to offend certain people out of the mind control programming of being PC. And there's a way you can criticize and acknowledge the Zionist agenda and what they've done to Palestine without attacking Jewish people or bringing innocent Jewish Americans. Now, if they want to be ignorant, right, and run cover for what's happening over there, that's their problem. But we don't have to still attack them as Jays or others that are Muslims. You don't have to attack every Hispanic person if you're angry about illegal immigration or things like that. You know what I'm saying? Like you can be above what they're trying to teach us to be. And we can be literally of different ethnic bloodlines and backgrounds, and we can be against what they're trying to build for us tomorrow and today. But there's not a lot of people that are trying to be the big adult in the alternative media. So remember when I said good men leaving mainstream society? Do you remember that 4 years ago, 5 years ago, right? This has never been said before. Good men leaving the independent media because there weren't enough real salt of the earth audience members to be real allies and friends. So just remember that little quote there. Good men leaving independent media in our nation's future, because this is not going to be long term. Just like I said to the Portland audience, this is a dangerous medium now. This is controlled by them. And if it's controlled by them, then they control how far we get to reach or how far our reach is. And if people are becoming lobotomized to not even want to volunteer and help us if they're consuming our content through Facebook and Twitter, through YouTube, maybe it's a subliminal sleep, just watch them, but don't help. Sleep, just watch them, but don't help. I have to consider all possibilities at this point. And in the end, all signs point to ding, ding, ding. We have a winner, Johnny. Communicating solely through these intelligence agencies controlled social media networks comes with the strange bedfellows of the energy. And as I've said for years, I've talked about entities. We're not going deep into that, but Alex Jones represents the Antichrist concept. He holds that energy. There was someone his name was Carl, who was somewhat of a spiritual advisor only for a few years, and then years when I felt that I needed it. But he would talk about, and others, the idea of not necessarily being an antichrist, but an antichrist consciousness, and all these systems and all these kingdoms representing that. And the idea, and you should know this, is the idea of the antichrist being popular. And so think about someone's going to be popular with women, maybe not all women, maybe not all men, but with enough people. I think about a variety of people, not just one individual that is super popular with women and men and women in European societies, other societies, our societies. I think about the horrible things that they do. And then in your own private time, ask yourself how so many of your own people, how so many of our own people promote people that are so evil and wicked when it's in plain sight. Are they getting like an inner body high orgasm from supporting the Antichrist archetype? Are there ways in which the evil of this world rewards with money? Is evil stronger than good in some ways, in which we can see examples of evil just throwing many, many, many $100 bills at that ass? Just shake that ass. Show me how you're willing to get down and work for that dollar. And that system makes that offer. And then it shows, right? It shows people, if you serve us, if you serve our buildings, if you serve our politicians, if you literally get down, and people can go ahead, like Christopher Green, and act like they're against the microchip. All they want is their little like carnal conspiracy. Like, okay, we're going to let you cross all these lines, but we won't let you chip us. We're so Christian. We're so anti-mark of the beast. Dude, you represent the mark of the beast. With all of your deceptions, next topic. So you got to understand, like, when I was talking several years ago about all of a sudden there were these people, including AMTV, that were belching out particular memes that were disinformation. And at the same time, all around the nation, I'm not for Clinton, but you should be aware of when people go in a particular mind control angle and when Hillary works with that. When Hillary like falls down on purpose. Like, oh, gee, I almost Well, she doesn't seem to be doing that anymore. So Hillary, in my eyes, was in on it. Capiche? Let's move forward. Pull up your pants. Because a lot of people just can't intellectually handle the idea of them working together. But maybe some people are getting it. Maybe some of you are getting it. Remember to hit that like up. Remember to share this video. Remember to check out the links down below and become a long-term supporter if you want to see me in the long term. And I'll do things outside of YouTube. But don't think that it's all going to revolve around this. I think that this is a real come to the true God of this world moment, ladies and gentlemen. And the true God is way above the algorithm, that which pays us. And that includes other human beings that may like us or not like us. We have to have a true come to the creator of all that is moment and go, how do we in the next generation, and we're doing this for the next generation, how do we move the information forward despite the algorithm intelligence blocks, info blocks, infocock blocks, in their info war? And I've always suspected it. And it's like, from seeing the clips from Alex Jones, let me try to recount some of the things that were revealed from the No More News channel. But I'm seeing the very things that I've been concerned about validated. Alex Jones in his own words. So people that came across my earlier content or are familiar with the things that I've said, they need to be familiar with the video. Alex Jones, is he a government agent? You may not agree with everything. I know I don't, especially with the thesis that the Jays are behind it all. But Adam Green compiled a lot of good data. And we can look at that data, and it really doesn't even then explain the tip top of what's going on, but it shows us Alex Jones in his own words. So Alex Jones also said that when he started out in the 90s, he had his, police state documentaries and America Destroyed by Design. It's like reverse psychology. He admitted it. The generals put out, like the U.S. Army, like, hey, don't be listening to this Alex Jones. There's 5 tapes over there. Don't make copies of those tapes. Then he would walk out. Then Alex Jones is like, in this monologue, recanting this and saying the message that early on, the military and the army made it seem like they were trying to cover up Alex Jones and his content so Marines and people in active service wouldn't be into him. And it created popularity and a buzz around it, kind of like the parent that says to the teenager, don't you do this? Don't you have a party? Me and your dad, we're going to go out and don't have any boys over, don't have any girls over. Okay, have a good time. There's food in the fridge. It's like reverse psychology, where here we are. And then we had like the buildup. I remember trying to get, when I went down to meet him the first time in 2005, there were people answering the phone at like 1 a.m. or midnight and I always felt there was something shady about whoever was answering the phones that was taking, by the way, the orders for his tapes. But that's a separate thing. But it's like, who the hell has enough money to have people staffed to be answering phones at midnight? That seemed abnormal for a normal business. There are other people that go in different areas of speculation regarding the InfoWars shell businesses and things of that nature. But I'm here to tell you that there are people answering his, 1-800-257-7799, or whatever, that old creepy commercials, and people call and order those crusty, like, fear porno tapes. I'd be like, dude, like, what the hell? But I was trying to see if someone could get me in touch with Alex Jones, because he seemed somewhat organic then with the Access TV thing, someone you can actually reach. And to a certain degree, one could. But then I came to learn that there was a filtering process with people running the emails, and his wife may have been a part of that in the earlier days, but like the screening process to where, those people we'll deal with, those people we won't. So his wife knows more than what some people are giving her credit for, because she was riding shotgun during those early days. The deception with Alex Jones goes back to the beginning. We're getting confirmation of this. The earlier Alex Answery commentary said, we really don't know, but we have the Y2K tape of Alex Jones pointing out fake disinfo about Russians attacking to see what type of response potentially would happen that night, especially if he's actually working for others. Why would one man on his own with just too much cocaine say those types of things? I mean, none of us are perfect, but, there's other forms of psychosis that are a little bit more natural and believable, rather than the type of show that Alex put on that day of December 31st, 1999. The Y2K broadcast. So think about that. Because I remember going to the early gun shows. I remember going to the early gun shows in Portland, or early in my life, in my awakening, going to get information in books, not so much guns. because Alex Jones tapes weren't sold at other places. So John Trockman and I would talk a little bit. I'm not really a fan of, I don't know about him. I just know that he was a person that had a table, and he's been involved in a lot of controversy and groups, militia groups. I guess he was with the Michigan militia, and he had a table there where he would sell Alex Jones tapes. Maybe they were $5 each, $6. They were bootlegged. And Alex Jones said he could make copies, so there was John profiting off of these tapes. And so, because the internet didn't have all of that information for free, or at least the buffering, YouTube wasn't around. So you just didn't have links that were easily playing videos. Videos took, if you remember 2003 and 4, and even Napster, you would have to download stuff. It would take a while, depending on your internet connection. And there was this whole like mystique about like those tapes maybe even being potentially illegal, because we were still coming out of the VHS tapes days, to the DVD days. The internet was new. It was a very marketable time for like, don't steal this tape, don't steal this book. It was in the era of that time. So I always knew, but I mean, that's how I respected him, but I knew that he got his start from the videotapes. But if we thought that that's organic, right, that's a fraud. If we come to understand that there were other things that took place that pointed people in armed services early on and others in the direction of Alex Jones. And this includes the radio stations that he was on, Sinclair Broadcasting, and other things. So let's go back to Alex Jones in his own words. He's on George Norrie. I could have said this at the beginning of this video. George Norrie's like, as if George Norrie's not in on this. Like, and so many of us have trusted George Norrie for so many years. So, Alex, tell us, how did you get Donald Trump on your show? As if they didn't script out that whole type of Alex WikiLeaks type of like release. And he says that the Special Operations Command in Florida that was in support of Alex Jones behind the scenes connected him with Donald Trump. That's either the truth or that's not the truth. But if that's not the truth, then how can someone trust the other things that he's saying? If it is the truth, it's a half truth because there's so much more. He said they didn't give me money or this, but they gave me this or that, this or that, this or that, this or that. They gave him this and that, this and that, that and this and that, right? Fill in the blank here. Open to interpretation. Don't you understand? He's not even denying it. He's not even denying it. So as we get closer to 2020, and even some people are put into office that are there to make the Republican base angry and rise up, you've been replaced, you've been replaced. They play out this script to make it seem as if it is so. You'll watch that hottie showing off the V of her titties. You tell me which one's one of their hotter number 10 chicks they're putting on main primetime on CNN. Is it like Brooke Baldwin or something like that? Like, just there's a lot of color in that woman, a lot of natural beauty by design. She might as well be a friggin' sex spot. She's like designed and designs herself to be so in the minds of so many physically perfect, from even like the skin tone, like matching her clothing attire. It's like literally like straight programming, like no, like suck on titty programming, like 11 out of 10, like whoa, like ring the bell, like straight up hitting those buttons. And it's like, and InfoWars did it with Leanne Macabooby and others, bring in the Russian hottie. And then he's sitting there going, yeah, and she worked for the top side of special forces, and there's so many of them. And then Adam's making that point in his video. Alex Jones has told you in his own words that he specializes primarily in having people in psychological warfare and intelligence agencies, military, other, working with him at InfoWars, behind the scenes. And you'll notice things became almost more militaristic, showing off the big guns, literally. Like, dude, it's okay to like have a big gun or be into guns, but you want to just straight up put on a table and and get one of your whores to like like strip in front of it. Like you want to talk about mind control? Getting a girl, anytime you have a girl stripping with the guns, there's always an agenda behind that type of sexualization of violence. And a lot of people don't realize that. They're just like, oh, we're all about love of Jesus and the Second Amendment. It's actually a mind control meme when they use the woman's sexual beauty for particular political agendas, whether it's from the left or from the right. This is why in some videos you'll see so many dislikes where I'm actually exposing the left and the right. It's because I'm not picking a side. I'm pissing off both. You're going to have people from different political ideologies that aren't going to like what Alex Ansary has to say. And you think this is going to change in 2030? Well, you think this is going to change in 2040? And I don't even know what kind of world we'll really be in by that point in time. But here we have AMTV with a video which I'll only watch 2 minutes of it because you got to be careful with deliberate, overt mind control operations. But the individuals that prepare you for World War III and say World War III is coming every day while rerouting you back to this blind allegiance to the president. What are they going to say next? Don't say no to the draft, because on that level of deception, they might as well be saying that right now. Don't you ever deny, right, the concept that you need to serve your government during the draft. A lot of these people are like prepping. Don't you ever deny your government ordering you to turn in your neighbor if your neighbor is suspicious based on what is being said at the moment. And so watch the Chris Greens of the world as they salivate and masturbate and verbally drool as they wait for the next event that will give Donald Trump the excuse to do the unthinkable. How could they do this? How could we have people in our own midst that claim to be a part, they were actors. They claim to be a part of a 911 truth movement. No, they were here to curb stomp the 911 truth movement. Now, these people are so loving and compassionate towards minorities, some of them that are on the left, and some of them do care, but they haven't been exposed to the concept they were lied to on that day. Now, if people want to start looking into that day or in the future, what kind of videos are they going to find? Sure, I put out some stuff. You think they're going to find me? They won't find me. No, they'll find him. You know they'll find him. You think the people that support Donald Trump and Alex Jones and Roger Stone today are running around saying, look into 911 and what they did to the Afghans? No, they're not. They're looking to privatize Blackwater and have Blackwater continue in Afghanistan. I mean, this is the core of when we discuss hypocrisy and what the glaring. Plus, I've mentioned before that video, and I should probably show it again. I should probably find it if it's out there somewhere. I'm sure it is, of Alex Jones torturing the iPad. This is also satanic. And acting like he's making fun of the leftists and liberals. They don't care about Afghanis and Iraqis being tortured by the U.S. military. Now, that is projecting, and that's satanic, that level of inversion, because he's basically describing himself. Is that not Alex Jones talking about Alex Jones or what Alex Jones turned into? And we've actually been able to witness some of these individuals become what they have projected society to be. Christopher Green collected $25,000 from his audience to make a documentary about us basically transhumanism, man and machine becoming one, internet addiction. And then that money came in, and then a few months passed, and then the Bitcoin thing began. But notice how he's bigger than life. Because despite your objections, you can come in the form of your own tribal members. Just say the buzzwords. Just say that it's not corruption from within. Just say that it's the barbarians over the wall and rewrite it and keep it in line with the script. And you will find the machine taking you to 600,000 subscribers. But don't ever discount the cost that your soul may have to pay. In that interview that Christopher Green deleted from his channel, the last words in that 1 hour video, of which I was only able to get 15 minutes of, I should have had a friend watch the stream and record it with their phone. I wasn't thinking. Alex Ansary in 2016 wasn't thinking that the interview was going to be deleted. Had I been thinking, I would have worked with one of you to make sure that we had a screenshot recording of every word that came out of my mouth. Now we know that there's no record of its existence, except for the 15 minutes that is at my YouTube channel from what I was able to preserve before he deleted even that. But I said to Christopher Green, as I've said to the people on my own YouTube channel, be very cautious before blindly demonizing people in various boxes that are already being demonized. For that could sacrifice our own soul to this world, to the God of this world, to be bound to this matrix. And my friend Kyle Reardon at the time was watching. He was watching Chris's reactions. He's like, "You pissed that dude off," and he was showing like, and who knows what type of comments were coming in about me on the live stream on Facebook. I can only imagine they were pretty bad. And so over time, and because of the things that were said on that, there was a theory within myself that was advanced. I'm not fully getting into it now, but some of these individuals are not what they seem. They seem beholden to people that will not allow criticism of Vladimir Putin. And there are certain people that have almost like exposed themselves by not even allowing dialogue or criticism of the 1979 invasion of Afghanistan, of which I specifically mentioned in that interview with Christopher Green. And this is what, August 2016. But again, you can find on the front page of my YouTube channel under the geopolitics playlist. Check it out if you're new. Now, if you were me, wouldn't that wake you up if you already had a theory that was kind of building in your mind about him and others? Maybe even him, InfoWars, and others working for the same people. Who would those same people be? And why would those people, perhaps in St. Petersburg, Russia, not be working with the CIA? Alex Ansary says that they would. Which means what? They are about to stage a conflict worldwide, just like I warned you about 10 years ago. And it's almost as if possessed people in power, they control the red buttons, are doing this to set man and woman against man and woman. They already have experience sending white Americans against white Americans in the street of Portland, Oregon. Why wouldn't you suspect U.S. versus Russia? We'll leave it there.